So I've been a MacBook Pro user for years, currently rocking the 16-inch M3 Max, and I love it for video editing and other demanding tasks. But it's large and heavy, and sometimes I need a lighter, more portable device for simpler tasks like writing, email, and quick video edits. That's where the new 13-inch MacBook Air with the M4 chip comes in. I picked this up on launch day in the new sky blue color, and honestly, this thing might be Apple's best value laptop yet. It's thin, fanless, starts at 16 gigs of RAM this year, and for a lot of people, maybe even you, it might be the perfect balance of performance and portability. So in this video, I'll break down what it does well, what kind of work it's best suited for, and who I think should buy it. Now, before I get into how it's performed for me in everyday use, let's go over what's new, because while the design might look familiar, some meaningful updates under the hood make this version of the MacBook Air a solid refresh. First off, price. The MacBook Air with the M4 chip starts at $999 USD, which is $100 less than last year's M3 model. So right out of the gate, you're getting Apple's latest chip at a more affordable price point. The new M4 chip brings a nice performance boost. Even the base model now has a 10-core CPU, which is an upgrade from the 8-core setup in last year's version. And the base model now starts with 16 gigs of unified memory, which is a major upgrade from the 8 gigabyte that was standard on previous models. That alone makes a big difference in multitasking, future-proofing, and general day-to-day responsiveness. I went with the 24 gig memory configuration, which gives me a little more flexibility when editing or running heavier browser sessions alongside creative apps. But even the base model feels like it's a much better spot for everyday users this year. And of course, we've got the new color this year, sky blue. I'll get more into the design in the next section, but it's a soft, almost silvery blue that hides fingerprints well and stands out in a subtle, classy way. All right, let's talk about the design, and if you've seen a recent MacBook Air, then this one will feel familiar in all the best ways. The chassis is the same wedge-free, uniform thickness design introduced in the M2 Air, super clean and super minimal. It has that signature Apple aluminum build, and it feels solid. There's nothing cheap about it. Now, the color I went with is the new sky blue, which is exclusive to the M4 Airs. And I have to say, it looks really good in person. It's not a bold or loud blue, it's more of a soft silvery blue that shifts depending on the lighting. In some environments, it almost looks silver or gray. It's eye-catching without being flashy. Personally, I really like it, but I can see how some people might be a little disappointed if they were expecting a more vibrant or saturated blue. If you're hoping for something that pops, this leans more towards subtle and understated. But one thing I do appreciate is how well it hides fingerprints, and coming from the space black MacBook Pro, which I love but constantly wipe down, the sky blue finish stays clean even after hours of use. As for the size and weight, this thing is just under 3 pounds, so it is noticeable coming from the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is nearly 5 pounds. So carrying this around feels effortless, whether I'm throwing it into a backpack or moving from my desk to the couch. It's a totally different experience. The thin profile also makes it more lap-friendly for casual use. If I'm on the sofa writing a script, I'm not shifting around to balance a gigantic 16-inch laptop. It's just easy. And the keyboard feels great too. The key travel is surprisingly satisfying for such a thin laptop. It's not mushy or over-clicky, and the trackpad is still one of the best. It's huge, responsive, and consistent. Port-wise, it's minimalist but functional. You've got 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, MagSafe for charging, and a headphone jack. That's it. So if you need to plug in things like an SD card, HDMI, or multiple accessories, you'll want to grab an adapter, but this really isn't surprising for the MacBook Air. Overall, the design is redefined and lightweight, and it feels like the kind of machine that you actually want to carry around. Now, let's talk about the display, because even though it's not a mini LED or promotion tech that you find on the MacBook Pro, This screen holds up really well. You're getting a 13.6-inch liquid retina display, and I think it's more than enough for what this laptop is designed to do. It's sharp, vibrant, and has solid brightness, and the color accuracy is great, whether I'm writing, watching videos, or editing quick social content. One thing I thought I might notice, but honestly haven't, is the refresh rate. The display is 60 Hz, which is lower than the 120 Hz ProMotion display I've used on my MacBook Pro, but for everyday stuff like writing and web browsing, editing here and there, it feels fine. Now, I don't game on this Mac, and let's be real, most people aren't gaming on a MacBook Air. This is not what this MacBook is for. So unless you're coming from a high refresh rate display and you're extremely sensitive to it, you probably won't even notice the difference. As for the bezels, they're not the slimmest out there, but they're never felt distracting. I barely notice them when I'm working, and yes, the notch is still here, just like on the Pro, but it doesn't get in the way and it fades into the background pretty quickly. Overall, this display is exactly what I'd want in a lightweight laptop like this. It's not over the top, but it's dependable, crisp, and enjoyable to use, even coming from the higher end Pro experience. All right, let's talk about the performance, and this is where the MacBook Air with the M4 chip really shines for the right kind of workload. So for what I use it for, video scripting, web browsing, email, productivity tasks, and even some light video editing, it's been smooth, responsive, and surprisingly capable. Apps launch quickly, multitasking feels effortless, and I haven't run into any slowdowns with the way that I work. Like I mentioned earlier, I did opt for the 24 gig memory configuration, which gives me that little extra breathing room, especially when I'm bouncing between different apps and Final Cut for editing content. But again, even the base model comes with 16 gigs, which is a big improvement over the previous years, and should be more than enough for most everyday users. I've edited a few short form content on this MacBook, and it's handled those pretty fine. Smooth timeline playback, quick rendering, and no stutters. And it's also more than capable than handling simple long form content like talking heads, basic jump cuts, and a few effects here and there. As long as you're not layering tons of 4K footage or doing more advanced color grading. For heavier workflows like multi-layer 4K timelines or complex effects, I think a MacBook Pro still makes more sense. This Air isn't trying to replace that kind of power, and that's totally fine. But what's really impressive is that this is still a fanless laptop, yet I haven't encountered any thermal issues, even when I've pushed it a bit with editing or long work sessions. It stays quiet, of course, and doesn't get overly warm. So I'd say overall the M4 chip delivers exactly what you would want in a thin and light laptop. It's fast, efficient, consistent performance that keeps up with real-world use. This is the kind of laptop that fits effortlessly into your day-to-day life. It's incredibly lightweight, compact, making it perfect for working from just about anywhere, whether at home, in a coffee shop, commuting, or traveling. It doesn't feel like a hassle to carry around, which makes a big difference in how often you'll actually want to use it. And then there's the battery life, which is honestly one of the strongest features. Apple says up to 18 hours, and while that will vary depending on how you use it, I've easily made it through full days of light to moderate use without needing to plug in. Standby time is also excellent, so you can close the lid, leave it for a while, and come back to find barely any battery drain. So it's always ready when you need it. Combine that with the quiet fanless design and how easy it is to bring with you, the MacBook Air M4 just delivers a low maintenance, go anywhere laptop experience. It's reliable, portable, and genuinely easy to live with, which is exactly what you'd want in a daily driver. So who is the MacBook Air M4 actually for? I'd say that this is ideal laptop for students, remote workers, casual creators, or anyone who wants a portable, reliable machine that doesn't compromise on everyday essentials. For everyday tasks like typing, browsing, and light editing, this is more than capable. It's responsive, silent, and just lets you get things done without a fuss. And if you're someone who travels a lot or just wants a machine that's easy to carry around, this form factor paired with a great battery life makes it perfect for that lifestyle. I wouldn't recommend it for people doing heavy video editing, 3D work, or software development that requires a lot of power. There are better options in Apple's lineup for those needs. But for most people, this is a well-balanced machine that hits a sweet spot of performance, portability, and price, especially now that the base model starts at $999. So after using the M4 MacBook Air for a bit, I can honestly say that this is probably Apple's best all-around laptop for most people. It's thin, it's lightweight, it's fast, and it handles everyday tasks with ease. And the fact that the base model now comes with 16 gigs of memory and a 10-core CPU, all starting at a lower price than last year, makes it even easier to recommend. No, it's not meant for power users doing intensive creative work full time, but that's not really the point of the Air. It's built for the majority of people who want something reliable, portable, and enjoyable to use, and in that sense, it absolutely delivers. I've really enjoyed having this back in my setup. It's the kind of laptop that makes you want to pick it up and use it, and I think that says a lot. All right, that's it for my review of the MacBook Air M4. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tech-related content. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.